Daar word dikwels gesê dat daar is nie so iets so slegte publisiteit nie, of enige publisiteit is ook goeie publisiteit, maar vir United Airlines in Amerika was dit verseker nie die geval nie. Ek en Leigh-Anne Acquisto van Brand Council kyk nou na die impak wat slegte publisiteit op 'n besigheid en ook die besigheid se handelsmerk kan hê. Hallo Leigh-Anne.
Hi.
Let's talk about United Airlines. How wrong did these guys really get it?
Yeah, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 was completely wrong, they got it completely wrong.
Yeah. And why was that the case?
You know, I think today the best thing that a business can do is admit fault when the fault is yours, and also to allow your consumers, you know, to be part of your co-creation of the solution. Yeah. You know, so when you've got 100 people sitting on an aeroplane filming a guy being dragged off of your airline because he doesn't want to vacate his seat after he's paid for it, the worst thing you can do is hide behind terms and conditions and public, you know, industry policy.
Yeah.
I think people expect brands to lead in situations like that and not to hide. And I think the days of being able to hide because of social media and the internet are way gone.
Yeah. So let's talk about that leading, or brands that lead. Obviously that should come from leadership. And in this case you had a CEO that he tried to lead, but he led in the wrong way. What did he get wrong?
Yeah, I think, you know, what happens with corporates is they sometimes tend to focus on the optics instead of the actuals. You know, when people want action, they want transparency, they want to understand the process, they want to understand what went wrong, and they also want reassurance that as an organization, you're going to do everything in your power to rectify the mistake. What they don't want is spin. You know, what they don't want is to, you know, for you to pretend that everything is okay and to hand it over to your PR firm or to your corporate communications to write the press release that is going to be put out to the public. You know, I think they actually expect leadership of organizations today to stand up and to have a plan, to take action and to operationally fix what is incorrect.
So you'll hear the chartered accountants always say that it's very difficult for us to determine what the value is of the brand. Where do you put it on the income statement? Do you put it on the balance statement as an asset? In this case, there was a real effect when somebody got the brand part wrong or destroyed the brand, wasn't it?
So I think, you know, it's very difficult. We always talk about measuring effectiveness, and it is quite difficult to measure the effectiveness of a brand because there's so many metrics at play. But when you get it wrong, it's quite easy. You know, when it costs you to the tune of $1 billion over a very short period of time, you know, 6% drop in share price, I think you realize the effect that your brand reputation can actually have on the rands and cents and the bottom line of your organization.
Sure. Let's talk about something closer to home, and it was the big Ford Kuga disaster that we had.
Yes.
The CEO behaved in kind of a similar way. He's also not here with us anymore. I think he left back to the States. What did they do wrong?
Look, I think again, you know, there's a level of not understanding how the world has changed and the role that communication can play in a solution to problems like this. You know, for Ford to take the stance that they took, to not admit fault, you know, to not lead the charge, to understand what the issues were. I mean, people died. It's not like, oops, I walked into my garage and my car was on fire. Yeah. Someone actually lost their life. And that person's family was the one who went onto social media, who garnered support and found out there were 40,000 other incidences before Ford actually took it seriously.
Sure.
And I think if you allow your market to do that as opposed to you doing that yourself, putting yourself out there, asking for the information, and again taking responsibility, leading the charge and rectifying the mistake, you know, you stand to be the brunt of some very bad jokes.
Small businesses out there would say, gee, I'm too small, I don't really have a PR agency. It's equally important for small guys, isn't it?
I think so. You know, I think brands going forward need to understand that, you know, brands are built on a purpose and they're built on trust. And it's like any relationship. You know, I meet you, I get to know you, you've got integrity, and then therefore I trust you. You say what you do what you say, it all works out. So there's a level of trust and rapport that is built up. And it's very similarly with small organizations. You start your business, you're building trust with your target audience or with your consumer, and the most important thing for you to understand is that that is what needs to be maintained. And you need to do everything in your power as a small business owner to ensure that you do that.
Obviously, so brands are people and people have processes, and in businesses stuff go wrong.
Yes.
What happens when stuff goes wrong? What's your advice to that SME out there? And there's some brand damage. How do they come back from that?
Look, I think there have been a lot of examples where brands have done the right thing, taking responsibility for the mistake or for the incorrect action is the first thing that you need to do, admitting that there was fault, and then making sure that you do everything in your power to rectify that mistake and make sure that it doesn't happen again in the future, and involve your customers in that process. We are all people at the end of the day. We understand that things happen, but the minute you try and skirt the issue or you try and spin the issue and pretend that there's a reason that makes this okay, I think you start to lose credibility in the minds of your consumer, and then therefore you lose trust. I don't know if Ford is ever going to survive what has happened to them in South Africa. I can tell you I will never buy one. And I feel very sorry for the people who have one today. And I think they've got a long way to go in regaining their trust in this country.
Leigh-Anne, it's fascinating, and yes, everybody has to focus on a brand, even if it's a one-man show. Thank you so much.